2011, the state enacted a series of bills to shift responsibility from the state to the counties. In particular, the state shifted the responsibility for supervising certain parolees, parole violators, and certain low-level offenders from the state to the counties. Because of this, the state's inmate and parole populations are projected to go down significantly. Specifically, the inmate population is expected to be 40,000 inmates lower by 2017 than it would have been in the absence of realignment. Similarly, the parole population is expected to be 51,000 parolees lower than it would have been in the absence of realignment. One of the chief reasons the state enacted this shift of responsibilities was to comply with a federal court order to reduce the rate at which the state overcrowds its prisons. Specifically, the courts had ordered the state to reduce the overcrowding rate to 137.5% of design capacity by June 2013. Current projections indicate that it's not likely that the state will meet the June 2013 deadline. However, there is some uncertainty involved with these projections. Because of this, we recommend that the legislature continue to monitor these population projections and direct the administration to request more time from the courts to comply with this court order. If the courts don't grant more time, however, there are several different options available to the legislature in order to reduce the prison population. For example, the legislature could expand its use of contract facilities or come up with various other alternatives for prison. The drop in the inmate population is also projected to significantly affect the mix of inmates in CDCR's facilities. This is because the projected drop in the number of low-security inmates, inmates in reception centers, and female inmates is projected to be quite a bit larger than the drop in the number of high-security inmates. Because of this, the state is on track to have a significant oversupply of facilities for individuals in reception centers, females, and low-security inmates, and an undersupply of high-security. In order to address this problem, we recommend that the legislature direct CDCR to maximize the use of its existing facilities to house high-security inmates. For example, by converting reception center beds into beds for high-security inmates. In addition, we also recommend that the legislature direct CDCR to provide plans on how it will address any remaining shortfall in housing for high-security inmates, whether that be contracting out for beds for high-security inmates or finding other alternatives for these prisoners, such as continuing to overcrowd some high-security prisons. In addition, we recommend that CDCR begin reviewing its facilities to determine which are good candidates for closure, because even after taking some of these steps, the state will still have excess capacity in its low-security prisons. We've put forward several different criteria that we think CDCR should review when looking at these prisons, such as the age of the prison, the cost to run the prison, and also whether the prison only holds low-security inmates or if it could also be converted to hold high-security inmates. We also recommend that the legislature reconsider the size of the AB 900 bond. Currently, there's about $4 billion of AB 900 bond funds that haven't been spent to provide housing for inmates. While some of this might be necessary to convert low-security facilities to high-security facilities, we expect that the legislature will likely be in a position to reduce the size of this bond by billions of dollars, potentially saving the state hundreds of millions of dollars annually in debt service payments. Realignment is also projected to significantly impact the state's fire camp population. This is because the criteria that inmates have to meet in order to be eligible for fire camps generally screen out a lot of the individuals who will be left in the state institutions following realignment. This is problematic for several different reasons. First of all, if the state underutilizes its fire camp capacity, it will make it more difficult to comply with the federal court order to reduce overcrowding because inmates housed in fire camps aren't counted towards the federal population cap. In addition, it's also problematic because fire camps are quite a bit less expensive to operate than the state's prisons. Therefore, underutilizing them drives up the state's prison costs. Finally, inmates in fire camps provide fire suppression services at quite a bit less cost than the alternatives, and so it increases the costs for the state to fight fires if we don't fully utilize the space in the fire camps. Because of this, we recommend that the legislature direct CDCR to review these criteria and see if they can be revised so that additional inmates can be housed in the fire camps safely. In addition, we recommend that the legislature direct CDCR to find ways to increase the number of inmates that volunteer for fire camp programs, for example, by increasing the amount of pay that inmates earn when they participate in these programs.
Realignment will eliminate the need to construct new prisons to house inmates in need of outpatient medical care. This is because reduced overcrowding will make it easier to deliver care to inmates in existing prisons. As such, we are recommending that the legislature approve the governor's plan to cancel the proposed construction of new inmate outpatient housing at the sites of the former youth correctional facilities known as Estrella and DeWitt Nelson. Realignment will also alter the need for healthcare facility upgrades at existing prisons. This is because there will be fewer inmates and they will be allocated differently amongst the state's prisons. While some facility upgrades might be necessary, we recommend that the legislature carefully review any such proposals to ensure that they account for the impacts of realignment. Finally, we find that the construction of a new prison hospital in Stockton will meet most of the department's ongoing need for inpatient hospital beds. As such, we are recommending that the legislature not approve any additional inpatient hospital beds at this time. Realignment will significantly reduce the number of mentally ill inmates in the state's prisons. As a result, we are projecting that the department may have excess capacity to provide treatment and housing for certain types of mentally ill offenders. This capacity could be repurposed for other uses. For example, the department could use this excess treatment capacity to deliver other types of mental health treatment to certain types of offenders for whom there is currently a shortage of treatment capacity. We recommend that the legislature direct the department to report at budget hearings as to how they plan to repurpose their excess treatment capacity to better serve the needs of the inmates that are remaining after realignment. Based on our review of CDCR's inmate and parolee programs, we find that the department is not currently doing as good a job of delivering these programs as it could be. Furthermore, there appears to be a significant mismatch between the types of the programs offered by the department and the needs of the current parolee and inmate population. In addition, we expect that realignment will significantly change the mix of programs needed by inmates and parolees who are remaining in the prison system. In our view, this provides a unique opportunity for the department to improve its programs by refocusing on the needs of the inmates and the parolees that are remaining after realignment. However, at this time, the department has not provided a plan for how it will do so. While the governor is proposing to restore a current year one-time reduction to inmate and parolee programs of about $101 million, we are recommending that the legislature not approve that restoration until such time as the department can provide a plan for how it will refocus the programs to address the needs of the population remaining after realignment, as well as better adhere to principles of effective programming.